I've got a question for you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Today with us, we have two beautiful ladies. And they're going to introduce themselves. Welcome, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
It's so cool to be here.
Can you please tell our listeners who are you guys?
Okay.
Because apparently I didn't know your names.
Apparently. So hi guys, my name is Taryn.
My name is Naomi.
And we work for an NPO called the Message Trust. And specifically we're from a project called Respect Me, and it's a schools-based project. We get to go into schools, we get to go into youth groups, to churches,
Prisons.
we've been to prisons
even.
And we talk about sticky topics that society doesn't necessarily want to talk about, but we need to talk about. We talk about self-esteem, we talk about pornography, we talk about healthy relationships, and one of our favorite one is bullying.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
She did a great job. I don't need to say anything else.
Before we jump into the topic of bullying, I've got a question for you guys.
Dun,
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 dun, dun.
If a turtle does not have a shell, is it homeless or naked?
That is such a good one.
I can't deal with the level of complexity in that question.
Is it homeless or
Or naked?
it's naked and homeless?
Can we do both? No, it's just a cop-out. That's the cop-out. What would you say, naked or homeless?
I would say homeless.
Why homeless?
Because, I didn't know you could offer
Because
that.
a turtle lives in its shell, right?
Never its home, but that's its body, basically. That's its shelter.
I can't imagine what a turtle looks like without a shell. Like a lizard. It's just a lizard. it's not homeless. Wait. It's just a naked turtle is a lizard.
I'm gonna say homeless. You say naked?
I'm saying naked.
Okay. So good. Can you guys just share with us, because I know you guys work with a message, you're running a program called Respect Me, and then you are running a segment of that program is an anti-bullying part?
Lesson.
Yeah.
Session.
Session,
Yeah.
segment. Can you guys share with us, what do you guys get the message? What's the message? All that stuff?
For
And
sure.
then-
Yeah. So the message, as Taryn introduced earlier, the message is a non-profit. We work in churches, schools, communities, have lots of different elements to it. And we're part of a team or stream called Creative Mission. So what that means is that we want to connect with young people in a language they can understand. So whether that is like Respect Me and it's a multimedia presentation with games, or whether it's music on a stage, young people hear things differently to adults. And so we want to engage with young people and create spaces where we can have really relevant and meaningful conversations. And Respect Me is where we look at the what's the word? The sticky is the word we use. Things young people don't want to talk about.
Yes.
And so part of Respect Me is we do a range of lessons in schools. Our primary function is to be in schools. We do it in different arenas. Is we run a lesson on bullying, and in that we look at what is bullying, what are the different types of bullying. But I think what's different maybe that we do is we look at both the victim and the bully. We were talking today about how so often campaigns and people just address the victim, but it's really important that we actually start to challenge the behavior of the bully. That's kind of the only way we're going to really see change. And so that's what we do. We talk about what is bullying. We obviously do it in a fun and engaging way. But we talk about bullying in a way that young people can understand and relate to. And also for us, there is that faith element as well. It's what does God say about bullying and how we treat other people? So that's how we do things. That's how we do that.
And it's so good. And can you, because you guys are running this program now, what are your thoughts on bullying? Is it acceptable? Is it good?
Is bullying acceptable? No, it's not. Underline.
Do it not.
Do you want to share a little bit? And then
what we always share in our lessons is bullying is unacceptable behavior, and it's never the fault of the victim. And what we like to emphasize is, what would a world look like where we celebrate our differences instead of bullying each other because we're different? I think because society wants to place everyone in a box, the minute you don't fit in that box, you don't have the proper hair, you don't have the proper skin color, you have pimples on your face, automatically you're bullied for that. And we're saying, what does the world look like where you look different, and that's a good thing. Nay has a different eye color to mine, that's a good thing. You know, too many times we focus on everyone being the same, and I mean, the world wouldn't be fun if everyone was like a specific person. We need the jokey people, we need the serious people, and that's something that we like to explore in the lesson a lot of the time.
Yeah, and we also look at kind of the different ways people can be bullied. So, we know the statistics tell us that verbal bullying is the most prominent or most common, and then secondly by physical bullying. But there's obviously cyberbullying, emotional bullying, sexual bullying, religious bullying. So what we try and do is kind of help young people understand, like, these are all the different ways in which a person can be bullied, and some of the behaviors that we would deem as bullying, we look at and we're like, oh, this is actually bullying. And we've had young people in our sessions come to us and be like, I didn't realize that was actually bullying behavior. And now they know they're able to get help, or now they know that they are a bully, and they're able to kind of put it differently. In Respect Me in the UK, after one of our sessions, they actually had a young person come up to them and say, I realised that I've been a bully, and I want to apologise to my year group. Like, I want them to know that I'm sorry, and I didn't know that I was doing this. So I suppose you could talk about bullying and all its different elements and moving parts for long, but that's probably the more significant things that we cover in our lessons.
No, that's so good. You guys touched on something that I think is so important, in the sense that sometimes bullying looks like, your friend. And you don't even know it. And you accept it. You just go on as if nothing is wrong. And what you guys are doing is so important in the sense that you're actually helping kids realize, hey, this type of behavior is actually bullying. I was chatting to somebody the other day on the topic of bullying, and she said to me that she was being bullied by people who were close to her, and she didn't even realize it until she was in high school, that behavior is actually bullying, and it had already done damage, and that she started struggling with depression, anxiety, and all those mental issues because of that.
For sure.
So it's so important that we actually empower young people with the knowledge to know, to identify what bullying is and what bullying is not. And actually also helping the bullies know that this type of behavior.
I had a similar experience. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I was training to do what we do now, and I had this girl, and she was so precious, a friend of mine at school, and I was learning about the different behaviors, and we were talking about ignoring somebody or excluding somebody as being a form of emotional bullying, because you're causing someone emotional pain. And I didn't realize, and I kind of, the penny dropped, so whatever statement. And I remember writing to her a few months later and saying, like, I've realized that what I did was bullying, and I'm so sorry, for that. And it's true that unless we give young people a language to understand what bullying is, then they're not going to be able to identify it, not only for them, but for others in their community, in their school, in their circles. So it's really important.
Awesome stuff. And then you guys are obviously involved in communities, and you work with young people. What are you seeing in communities? What are you seeing on the ground with regards to bullying?
It's so crazy. We were actually talking about this the other day, and we were saying there's actually a lot of bullying that is starting at home with families. And I think there's a line between discipline, bullying, and then abuse. And so it's so funny, especially in a lot of colored communities that we work in, we see parents subconsciously bully their children. So they make comments like, oh, you're stupid, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that, it affects a child massively. Now they think that this type of behavior is okay, therefore they go to school and they project those very things, and they think, oh no, this is normal, my mom calls me this. And I think there's a fine line when we do that. And so when we talk in our lessons, we say that a lot of it plays a role when kids are at home, and what parents allow at home, they project when they're at schools a lot. So let's say, for example, a kid is struggling with maths. And their parents say, oh no, you're stupid, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
The child thinks, oh man, I am stupid, this, I don't want to do this anymore. They go to school, their teacher says, okay, come and do a sum on the board. A learner goes up, they kind of get it wrong. They're like, oh no, you stupid, you can't do this. So there's a pattern, and it starts from at home as well. And we see this a lot in the communities that we work in. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the dangers of that is, a kid picks up that type of behavior maybe at home, and they think it's okay because my parents called me that, so it must be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they end up doing that to other kids.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
And then they start becoming the bully,
Yeah.
not even know.
Realizing,
Definitely. And it's difficult because obviously you can't influence how people run their homes, right? And you can't label every behavior as bullying.
Yeah.
But it is true that we do learn some behaviors, and we see things not just at home, but in our communities or in our roads, or even with gangsterism. We see a lot of young people bullied, and then they turn to gangsterism, which obviously isn't a healthy place to pick up behaviors, and then they think that this is normal. And another thing we were talking about is how a lot of young people bully because the other young people around them don't fit into what they think is normal. What is normal? What is normal? And so you see a young person bullying another young person because they are different, or you see a young person bullying someone else because they themselves feel insecure about how they are, and it's the only way to get power or control is to make someone else feel as bad as they feel. And so it's intricate, isn't it? It's not like cutthroat, simple. It's very complex. Which is why we've got to be creating safe spaces for young people to discover and learn and identify. And hopefully that will provide a platform for help and improvement.
Yeah, and I think that is why it's so important, working with young people, because they come from different upbringings, different, household circumstances, and all that stuff. So by us being involved in schools, running programs, we can empower them people to identify the behavior and actually, try and change that.
For sure.
Do you guys have tips that you can give to somebody who's been bullied? What practical stuff they can do to deal with that?
Yeah. We always mention how the most important thing is to never put yourself in a position where you're a target. It's what we were talking about earlier. How do you tell someone, don't hang out there, don't be alone? But people should feel free to be who they are, wherever they are. But some practical tips is try not to isolate yourself. Try not to be alone, especially with traveling. Like if you travel with a taxi or a bus, make sure that you're sitting close to the driver. Something that bullies don't want to get caught. They try and do it behind the scenes or around the corner. So stay in safe places, whether at school, when you're taking lunch breaks. Make sure that you are in a safe place. And tell someone, most important thing, tell someone you trust. And also we like to encourage the bystanders that tell someone and cover for that person, If I know Naomi's being bullied, for example, I need to tell someone on her behalf, I need to be her support and be there.